Your Excellency Yang Kit Main, President of the Cambodia Chamber of Commerce and Chair of ASEAN-BAC Cambodia. Your Excellency Heng Su, Minister of Labor and Vocational Training. Excellencies, Nhok Nha, Dok Nha, CEO, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This closing ceremony marks the end of 2 days of genuinely substantive dialogue at the Cambodia-ASEAN Business Summit 2026. My thanks go to the Royal Government of Cambodia, ASEAN-BAC Cambodia, Cambodia Chamber of Commerce for building and sustaining this important platform. One that brings governments and business together to do the hard thinking about where ASEAN's economy goes next, especially in the current global economic environment. To all speakers, panelists, and participants who contributed to the discussions and deliberations of the past 2 days, the quality of conversation has been evident in the ideas and recommendations that have been raised and proposed. The summit themes, transforming ASEAN, innovation, integration, and industrial evolution, was well chosen and highly relevant. In a period defined by economic uncertainty and accelerating technological disruption, ASEAN's competitive advantage lies in its unity and collective strength as a single market and production base, and in our ability to transform ASEAN into a global powerhouse of innovation, creativity, productivity, and sustainable development. What stood out in these discussions and deliberations? Cambodia's +1 model, infrastructure investment, and digital advancement, among others, was how clearly national initiatives can and support regional goals. These are not parallel tracks. They are mutually reinforcing and the building blocks. And together they make ASEAN's economy more connected, more resilient, more dynamic, and more responsive to businesses of every size, particularly MSME. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN economic track speaks for itself. In 2024, the region's combined GDP grew from $3.8 trillion to $3.9 trillion, sustaining ASEAN's position as the 5th largest economy globally, and delivering 4.8% growth, outpacing global averages for the 5th consecutive year. Total trade in goods reached $3.8 trillion. Services trade expanded to $1.29 trillion. And inward foreign direct investment inflows stood at approximately $230.8 billion. Looking ahead, the endorsement of the ASEAN Community Vision 2045, alongside the ASEAN Economic Community Strategic Plan, and of course, other key strategic plans, gives the region a clear framework for converting the current momentum and of course also transforming the challenges into opportunities, into long-term outcomes. The focus areas are deliberate: a rule-based environment for trade and investment, digital transformation, tourism cooperation, sustainability, and inclusive and people-centered integration. These are not aspirational add-ons, but rather structural priorities for ASEAN. With that backdrop in mind, let me draw out three key highlights that ran through the summit discussions and deliberations. The first highlight is the green industry. ASEAN's long-term competitiveness will increasingly depend on how effective it transitions to sustainable production. The ASEAN strategy for carbon neutrality positions green industries at the heart of the region's decarbonization pathway, and the projected returns are substantial. $5.3 trillion in additional GDP, $6.7 trillion in investment, and 66 million new jobs by 2050. Sustainability in this context is not a constraint, but an economic strategy for long-term growth. The ASEAN Framework for Circular Economy for the ASEAN Economic Community reinforces this by targeting high-impact sectors, in particular agriculture, transport, and energy, and by working to harmonize standards and facilitate the flow of circular goods and services, and promote the use of green technologies under the ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, or ASEAN-BAC. The ASEAN Power Grid, APG, remains a key regional priority to strengthen energy security, deepen regional integration, and support ASEAN transition toward a more sustainable and low-carbon energy system. Realizing the APG will require significant investment, estimated at around $700 to $760 billion for power generation and transmission infrastructure across the entire ASEAN region through 2040. Building on the recently enhanced ASEAN Power Grid Memorandum of Understanding, ASEAN is now shifting toward implementation, including advancing the operationalization plan and the framework for subsea power cable development under the Philippines 2026 prior to economic deliverables. The ASEAN Power Grid Financing Initiative, or the APGF, with the Asian Development Bank and the World Bank as founding partners, can help catalyze financing and accelerate the preparation of priority cross-border interconnection projects, enabling greater integration of renewable energy across the entire ASEAN region. Recently, I just met with the new president of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, and AIIB is interested to support the APG project. I want to share this with Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Cambodia, in fact, is well placed within this shift. With genuine strengths in green energy, agriculture, manufacturing, and tourism, it has the raw material to anchor a new wave of high-quality, sustainable investment across the region. That potential will only be realized, however, if Cambodian enterprises, especially MSMEs, actively align with sustainability requirements, deepen their integration into regional production networks, and work alongside governments and the ASEAN partners to build the skills and access to climate finance that this transition demands. The second key highlight that I would like to underline is the digital transformation, which is a powerful enabler of innovation, productivity, and competitiveness. It is shaping ASEAN's future and enabling our economies to leapfrog their traditional development models toward an innovative and technology-driven growth. ASEAN has been building the infrastructure for a regional digital economy for years. The ASEAN Single Window, the ASEAN Unique Business Identification Number, and the ASEAN Authorized Economic Operator Manual Recognition arrangements have already made measurable reduction to the time and cost of doing business across borders. This year adds a significant new chapter to this. The ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement. Of course, we expect to conclude the negotiation by June and expect to sign DEFA by November this year. This will certainly create the interoperable regulatory framework that a genuinely integrated digital economy will require. Its projected impact, doubling digital economy value from $1 trillion to $2 trillion by 2030, underscores how the digital integration is central to ASEAN's competitiveness in the next decade. On this note, I'd like to comment on Cambodia's efforts in convening the Digital Government Forum in 2024 and 2025, which has provided an important platform for public-private dialogue, as well as the regional cooperation, and encourage more ASEAN digital forums to be convened to build practical momentum, and of course also stakeholder alignment in support of the ASEAN DEFA, as well to support the ASEAN Digital Ministers Meeting framework. Cambodia also has demonstrated this in concrete terms. Bakong has redefined the national mobile payments landscape. Verify.gov.kh, the official document verification platform developed by the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications, earned the gold medal in the public sector category of the ASEAN Digital Awards in 2024, a recognition that reflects genuine innovation, not incremental improvement. These achievements deserve to be recognized and scaled. There is a regional appetite for what Cambodia has built, and there's a real value in sharing that expertise across ASEAN member states. And I just met with Excellency Dr. Chivande this afternoon, and I understand that right now this particular platform has been supporting other ASEAN member states like Laos PDR, Timor-Leste, and the Philippines. In the case of the Philippines, they only used it recently. They were already able to register 92 million people, and the transaction every month over 100 million transactions. And of course, also Cambodia has been also shared with other countries in Asia, in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, for example, as well. So I think this is a genuine achievement on the part of Cambodia. The third key highlight that I'd like to specifically underline is the supply chain resilience. The case for deeper regional integration has never been more practically compelling, with 99% of intra-ASEAN tariffs lines now at zero under the ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement. The cost structures for regional trade have fundamentally changed. The signing of the protocol to upgrade ATIGA in 2025 ensures that this framework remains current and responsive. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, alongside the continued implementation of the regional comprehensive economic partnership and the upgrading of ASEAN FTAs with dialogue partners, we have with China, with Japan, Republic of Korea, Australia, New Zealand, India, and Hong Kong, China. These are already well established. In the case of China, it has been upgraded to 3.0. The same thing with Australia, New Zealand has been upgraded already and ratified, went into effect since last year. With Republic of Korea, we are negotiating starting this year to upgrade our bilateral FTA between ASEAN and Korea. We're now about to conclude another bilateral FTA between ASEAN and Canada, the first country in North America. At the same time, we are now undertaking a full feasibility study of a region-to-region FTA between ASEAN and the Gulf Cooperation Council. Of course, with what's happening now in the Middle East, is something that we have to continue to monitor. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the architecture for an ASEAN Central Regional Value Chain is increasingly become solid. As I mentioned, the 7 bilateral FTA that we've been implementing, in addition to the RCEP. Economic integration is ASEAN's strategic asset, Resilience is our collective responsibility. Cambodia has significant opportunity to extract more value from these bilateral FTA frameworks, as well as the RCEP. A more strategic approach to the +1 model, deeper links between domestic production and regional manufacturing networks, and a concerted effort to move up the value chain through skills development, robust standards and technology adoption would all strengthen Cambodia's position. The discussions today also highlighted the importance of public-private partnership, which is the key, I think, in ASEAN. Better logistics, stronger trade facilitation, and actionable policy will determine whether Cambodian MSMEs can participate and be better integrated into regional and global supply chains consistently and sustainably. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN transformation is not a project for tomorrow. It is happening now across policy tables, factory floors, digital platforms, and investment decisions being made across the region. What this summit has shown us is that the direction is clear and the actors are actively engaged. The work is to keep that momentum deliberate and coordinated, as well as being strategic. Cambodia has been an outstanding host. The quality of the arrangements and the depth of engagement over these 2 days reflect well on ASEAN-BAC Cambodia and the Cambodia Chamber of Commerce under the leadership of Nyang Kit Mei. This annual platform is worth sustaining, and I would like to encourage all other ASEAN member states to develop similar spaces for public-private dialogue, the sharing of good practices, and the business networking building across the region. I think there's been some business networking that have been taking place in the past 2 days. The goal ahead is an ASEAN that is more innovative, better integrated, and more competitive for businesses, for workers, for companies, and for communities across the region. With that, I want to thank ASEAN-BAC Cambodia, the Cambodia Chamber of Commerce, and of course, in particular, Nyang Kit Mei and his entire team for the leadership, but for organizing this another successful year of Cambodia-ASEAN Business Summit 2026. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kao, for your remarkable closing address. Kindly remain on stage. We would now like to invite Nyak Oknyan, our excellencies, to please join Doctor on stage for a group photograph. Cambodia-ASEAN Business Summit 2026.